I have been thinking recently of calling a group of us the sightseers. So I say here, the sightseers invite you to join our growing group of people who center our attention on seeing exactly how we can keep getting our individual acts and our communal interaction together so we keep doing justice by all our relations. This morning, when I woke up feeling disheartened and in pain, I looked to Shiva, the Lord of Dance, asking, "Are you with me?" "Sure I am," he replied emphatically. Then, turning to his son Ganesh, the infant-bodied, elephant-headed figure known as the remover of obstacles, asking him for direction, I saw Ganesh sitting cushily on his lotus throne, thrusting his trunk out straightforwardly, showing how to keep getting a move on and keep going ahead energetically. Now I'm feeling so much better, knowing the gifts and powers of this Father and Son within me, prompting me to keep on keeping on, aiming to help people of all sorts and ages to keep seeing exactly how readily we can get and keep our acts and act going together. This morning, picturing the serpents that both Ganesh and his father Shiva wear around their necks, and I received a revelation through which I sense for the first time our need to relate beautifully with mythic figures whose visions enable us to experience and enjoy the unifying relatedness of animal, vegetable, and mineral vision that mythic figures like centaurs and sphinxes reveal to us, showing ways human eyes alone fail to grasp. Only through projecting such whole picture visions in our imaginations are we moved to put our whole self and mutually healing images together again and again. So with this experience in mind, I'd like us to concentrate on seeing what happens to us when we experience things happening all of a sudden. First of all, close your eyes and breathe as deeply as the sea for a while until you feel your breath settling into your body. So now, see something happening all of a sudden, and let me know when you're ready to share your image. I saw Jerry look up first. So Jerry, tell us what's with you.
Yes, when you asked that question or gave us that direction, immediately what came up was is an image from a dream 2 nights ago, and I'm out in an open area, like a field or like the tundra almost up north, and there are some grizzly bears, and one of the bears starts running toward me, and I see a wall. It's a stone wall, like a low cliff, maybe about 8 feet high. And I run toward it, and there's just one spot where I can put my foot, a little like natural step, what seems like a natural step on the wall. And so I have a lot of adrenaline moving through, and I run toward this wall, and I just run, and I get one foot on it and spring up onto this wall, which is another higher area of land there. Yeah, when I see that, I have some sense of my breath being faster, and some adrenaline just running through, my heart beating faster, the adrenaline moving through, it's tingling in my muscles,
Mm-hmm.
like in my it's got an upward motion to it. And the breath is huffing and puffing a little bit is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Just immediately after doing it, it happens so quickly that I'm already kind of coming down out of it and just coming back towards neutral. There's a sense of feeling ready in my body. My muscles are still activated and ready to go, still looking around to like, oh, was that it? Or is there more here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the emotion with all that is excitement, some some fear in there, but for whatever reason it's not a strong fear. It's more just a feeling of alertness.
Okay, so stay with that as we go along and see what happens, and let's see what happens next. Dan.
So immediately there was it's a dark background, and I'm seeing this sort of scuttling movement, and it's a tilted, like a ladder that's tilted towards me enough that I could see the rungs of the ladder. And there's some creature or person going up it, and upon focusing further, I can see Ganesh, going up the ladder, and it's almost like there's a clunk of a piano with each link or plunk, whatever, with each rung, like da, 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 But I am noticing the sort of fancy playfulness and kind of the ability to balance like that. And part of me is wondering, can I do that? And I guess in the last few days I've had an injury, and my balance was really thrown off. I was afraid of falling, or coming up anything to the side, and usually falling to my right, or could be my left if I step wrong. So being able to just go up the ladder like that is a little reassuring, and it's kind of a little impishy, show-offy, precocious, you know, strutting sort of, uh, show-offness, but you can go up, you can go down backwards too on this tilted ladder that I guess looked like that to you, but to me it's here. So there's still some trepidation. Could I do such a thing? I don't think my body's not ready for that. Like I don't have the confidence yet to find my footing and literally do something like this, sort of rhythmic, back and forth, wiggling out of my current, you know, steady as she goes, very careful, cautious, moving around in the world. And so right now I've got this little. I mean, I'm feeling more confident about this trip and not tripping. I was getting so worried because there were stairs involved in different places, and I'm just in the last day I've been feeling like I can get around. It plays upon me like an instrument, where I'm hearing the notes go up and the notes go down, and it's got this syncopation, rhythm, and tone that is encouraging and light enough to say, can't nothing to it. There ain't nothing to it. It's kind of just Yeah, I can get there. I can get, you know, these rungs or whatever. It's encouraging. I don't think I'm gonna literally try climbing on a slightly sloped, you know, like a ladder right now, on four, you know, legs, if you will, you know, with my arms.
So just
But
stick with, I can get there. Just stick with that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay?
I got that. Yeah.
Okay? Will you?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be a good thing for you to stick with. I can get there.
Yeah.
That's your choice. Do you see that's your choice?
Hmm.
If you don't make that choice, the other will win out,
Hmm.
will fritter away the strength that you are witnessing. Okay? So that's a very important choice for you to make. Yes? Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you told me to think about it and feel about it, that's when I felt a little trepidation, and because I was feeling it so much that I've just been playing this absolute caution game, you know, every angle of every step. So it might have to play up and down that ladder, you know, play these notes in my head a few more
Okay.
times, and I will make the choice to do so.
Every
But
angle of every step is extremely important. That's the whole value of ISM, image somatic response, meaning concentration, because that brings out the specificity, that brings out the lucidity, that brings out the clarity that gives us confidence. Okay? And not to override that. But then beyond that, the need to choose to stick with the good feeling that comes to you, I can do that, is also there. And if you keep running on, you may miss the strength that comes with the holding on there. Okay? That's the point I'm just pushing at the moment. Do you follow? And so if you can enjoy getting a hold in this way now, I think you will find great benefit in it.
I'll trust you on that one and enjoy it.
Okay.
That the images that Jerry and Dan shared, and the one in which you yourself introduced us to in the initial phase of the session with Ganesh, and that in itself was what I was able to connect with, and especially when Jerry uh, shared the wall, and then Dan responded. That wall image also showed me how important it is to stay open and receptive in ways in which you're able to transcend those boundaries that walls can sometimes place upon us. And that was realized in my image in a very personal way, you know, and that way was through the biblical context and also through a very personal context of being behind a wall for over a decade, being separated, you know, feeling those particular boundaries that needed to be transcended through spirit and through truth in the bodily sense, you know, to alleviate the burden that it can cause upon one's body and one's mind, uh, and cause an illness therein, an illness within the body and the mind. And you have to seek the liberty through the way in which you see yourself being able to transcend that restricted confinement and physical inability to move beyond a certain space and time, you know. And it just brings to mind what those who've been subject to that usually say. They say that though my body may be bound, my mind and my spirit is free. And imaging has done that for me.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so real in my life and why I myself continue to engage in the power of imaging and how that's given me a sense of liberty in a physical and a mental sense that I continuously seek.
Okay, great. I want to say something right there because this came to me a few days ago. I think I just woke up and thought we need to concentrate on what happens when you see something all of a sudden. And when I asked myself to see something all of a sudden, what immediately came to mind was a very old image of mine, it could be decades old, in which I see myself having a bird's eye view of my father heading towards the kitchen door after a walk with Jasmine, our white pit bulldog, and he's digging the boot of his work boot into her belly, into her pink tits, and it's quite horrifying to me. It seems that something she did annoyed him, and that was his response. And I, as the child, I don't see myself in the image, but the divorce was when I was 11. So somewhere before there, I sensed more like when I was 8 or so. I'm simply horrified to see my father's work boot digging into Jasmine's pink belly. But as I keep looking at the image, I begin to see Jasmine wiggling her legs. And she springs free of the injury of this situation. And that releases me from that deep impression that has been fixated in me for 7 decades. And as soon as I see all Janny's 4 legs, and then she springs up onto all 4 feet, and she's in fine fettle. She's not having an argument with, she's okay. And I'm okay. And I just wanted to tell that at this point, because that to me just in very succinct way shows exactly how eidetic emanation works. It shows that it's within our power to see into ourselves deeply enough to release the images that are the perfect antidote to something that's had us stuck for decades in some fixated reaction. And I just think that this is one very direct, dramatically clear instance of what we've been demonstrating in a broader sense. So I hope that my illustration makes that clear, does it? The dramatically clear and efficient way eidetic emanation works. And we were just dealing with it in broader terms, which is great. So it's nice to see them together. But that it's the dynamic principle underneath that is just dramatically clear. And I'm very grateful for you all demonstrating that. So now you have anything more you want to say?
There's so many stories within the Bible that really speaks to why walls were so significant. And then one of the scriptures that come to mind is that, and I believe it was in the book of Proverbs, where it said that a man who can't control his emotions is like a city without walls.
Mm.
In other words, anybody can just come in and wreak havoc on him because he can't control his emotions in the way in which he responds to others. Maybe in a negative sense, somebody that's coming in to maybe do him damage or to has an ill will against him, and the way he responds to that is like he can't protect himself against it. So it has a lot of significance in our understanding psychologically and physically how we need to protect ourselves against those images that come in, from traumatic experiences that happened in our past or in our life that we're trying to free ourselves from.
But the word protect etymologically means pro-tech, for building. So protection, instead of being closure, is a building process.
Right.
And that's what this practice enables us to rebuild. We've gotten stuck with some awful jam.
That's a wall.
Yes. And then by allowing these energies to become fluent, we can release ourselves from these jams that otherwise keep devastating us on replay throughout our entire lives. And we can see very deeply and clearly to the bottom of what we've been calling the unconscious, we can now be very deeply and clearly conscious of what's at the, what's at the bottom, what's the root of these terrible reactions that we otherwise replay throughout our lives. So just following directly upon that, I like how my image with my father's work boots came out, because, it's just this wiggling of Jasmine's legs that show the strength of the resilience within her that could break through and out of the situation of the violence of whatever ill temper she had been subject to. But so that the real solution is delightful experience, the uplift and the delightfulness of it. And, with this shaming and blaming and punishing and humiliating and verdict and all this diagnosis, we've made it all so heavy. And how can we believe that it's delight that sets us free?